Boom. Oh, I should push the button. Well, cool. Welcome to REALMigos. Jeremy Knight, your favorite REALMigo host. Did I do that right? We have a really awesome guest tonight, Farzad, and I'm really excited to have him. He's got a really cool YouTube channel that talks about Tesla a lot. I'll bring that up here in a second. So we're going to have him on. We're going to talk about his experience. He used to work at Tesla. Now he's got a whole channel dedicated just to talking about Tesla in a tasteful way. So we're excited about that. I'll pull up his channel here in a second. We have, as always, the Austin City Limit Man population full Ian of, what are you in now? Round Rock? Ian of Round Rock.
No, Ian of Austin. Keep it.
Keep it. Cool. So Farzad, welcome. Give us a little introduction on yourself, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm very excited to be here with you guys. I met Jeremy through. I was watching his channels when we were looking to move to Austin, and he had such great information around the real estate in the Austin area. And yeah, Farzad Misbahi. I've been living in Austin for the last year and a half now, and I was working at Tesla from July 2017 through September 2021. My background is mostly in analytics. I've been an investor in Tesla for a long time as well, but I also do investments in other stocks, and I do like to invest in real estate as well. So there's a little bit of a connection between Jeremy, Ian, and myself. But yeah, I'm just very excited to be here with you guys. I love just sitting down and chatting about Tesla, housing markets, whatever. I just like sitting down and spending time with folks that seem very interested and passionate about what they do. So really honored to be on you guys' show. I'm very much excited to talk with you guys and everybody else.
Man. I'm super excited. I mean, I got to go on your channel, and there's my little face right there.
Yes.
That was a fun experience. I mean, we got to talk about kind of the growth of Austin, and that's why I wanted to bring you back on and talk about your experience, because I think your experience is really important, because you were with Tesla, you left there, you moved to Austin presumably for Tesla, correct?
That's correct.
Right. And so you were one of those people that did the migration, and you got here and you're like, I love this way too much to live at Tesla, to work at Tesla, I guess. But so you have a video up here recently talking about the reason why you left Tesla. Let's break down that video for us. For anybody who wants to go watch it, go watch it. But tonight's theme, we are talking about the effect of Tesla on Austin. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about kind of the job growth. We're going to talk about some of the things where it's like the good and the bad impacts of Tesla being here. So we got a pretty good, lineup of things. But tell us why one would want to leave Tesla and the great Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's something that I struggled with for 6 months while I was making my decision. It's really rooted in the fact that I had been following Tesla. I've been investing in Tesla since 2012. December, I looked at my very first stock statement. December 5th, 2012 was the first time I ever bought Tesla stock. And this was back when the stock price was, if you adjusted for the split, which it had not too long ago, it was basically like $7 a share, basically. And now it's almost to 1,000, right? So having worked at Tesla and having been invested in Tesla for so long, my wife and I are extremely lucky, plus other investors we've made in real estate in the past as well, and having a business and whatnot. We gained a lot of financial security, and we've been incredibly blessed and lucky to be where we're at. We're young, I'm 35, she's 32, and we don't have any kids, and we're just very fortunate to be in the situation that we're at. And having been at the company for 4 years and really having felt like I really given my all to that company, and really put my passion in there, and felt like I was very happy with what I did. My wife and I made the decision to take time to ourselves to enjoy that financial independence, travel, spend time doing what we're passionate about, really getting ourselves back, just living a little bit more simpler life. I got back into a lot of my hobbies, like playing the guitar and reading books. And it gives me a lot more time to really pursue the things that are truly make me very passionate. So just a very lucky situation for me. I always tell everybody, if you have a chance to work for Tesla, work for them, because it's truly a once in a lifetime experience. You learn so much by working there, and the amount of people that you're surrounded with and the type of talent that you're surrounded with and the mission that the company's for. It's a very unique place to work, but it's a gift that we got from the universe of being where we are with our youth, our health, and our financial independence, that we had to take it. If we didn't take it, we would look back and say, hey, you know what, we probably should have taken time and see the world and really pursue our passions. And who knows, maybe that passion will lead to the next stage of our life. So we're just blessed and very happy to be where we're at. So that's kind of a summary of why I left.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you this then. You've been in Austin for how long now?
So we moved here in October of 2020.
2020. So you came right at the best time before prices like went absolutely nuts. Like literally 2 months later, December, prices just all of a sudden went crazy. What's your feeling being in Austin now for a year and a half? And what's your overall take on Austin?
Yeah, I love it here. I really do. I love it here. I came from Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania. The city that I was in was called Bethlehem, which is part of the Lehigh Valley in the east side of Pennsylvania. And it was a really cool town. It was niche. It's called the Christmas City. During Christmas, the entire city lights up and they have all these ornaments and stuff. But a couple things that really drove us to move, and Austin was one of the cities. We were looking at Atlanta, we were looking at Seattle, we were looking at a couple of other cities as well. We were looking for somewhere to go. And the reason why Austin became front of mind is, one, the Gigafactory is being built here and should be pumping out cars here any day now, it looks like. Yep. And we were vibing with the people. Like, the people here have this very unique, authentic niceness to them, which we really enjoyed.
Imagine that. I've talked about that in videos. Imagine that.
It's so true. It's so true. And, not that the people from Pennsylvania are bad people, but it's just a different level of niceness. You feel at home, you feel very welcome. And it's been such a nice reassurance every time we've been walking around and experiencing the city and everything. And the people here is that, it's not just a one-off thing. It really does feel like home, and it feels very, and the growth of the city is so obvious, and the opportunities that are coming here are so obvious. And the fact that Tesla and Elon and other tech companies are coming here as well, I think that in the long term, it's going to completely transform the city and really make it into something that is very unique in not just America, but the entire world. And that potential, I think, is one of the things that has me most excited. But for the meantime, just the people, the fact that you see a massive growth, hopefully good growth, that you see in the city and the places around it, just make it really, really exciting for me to be here. And the barbecue's freaking incredible. And I'm freaking obsessed with making briskets in my, smoker every other weekend, basically. So it's just good, man. It feels great. It feels awesome.
Sorry, Claudia, my new assistant's on here. I didn't mean for you to be on here. Look, everybody. So amazing news. Claudia joined the team.
Ooh. Hi.
Yeah, put her on the spot. My new assistant, Claudia. We're really excited to have her. So sorry, I totally put you on the spot. I didn't mean to do that. So I'm excited. Just some quick news about us. Some really cool stuff happened. So we brought Claudia on. She is a dynamite. I'm so excited to have her. We brought on a couple buyer's agents on the team recently, and I found out literally today we hit our elite award with Real Broker, which just basically means we sell a lot of stuff. So everybody say hi to Claudia. Claudia, do you want to be the fourth Migo now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
So I did not anticipate having you on, but I saw you on, so to bring you on. So people are already enjoying you. Dinosaur D's loving. So hang in there. We'll get your feedback, because interesting enough, Claudia goes back and forth between Houston and Austin. So if you're watching this and want a good take on why Austin's way better than Houston, Claudia is definitely going to tell you why. But sorry to cut you off there, Farzad. But
that's okay.
So everything about Austin, I've talked about. All the good stuff I've talked about Austin. You pretty much reiterated. So $20 I told you is going to be in the mail. But tell us all the negative about Austin, because I'm one of those people that's been in real estate, and everybody wants to sell you the good stuff, right? They want to hide everything else in the cupboards. They want to just show you everything, the beautiful pictures. And I've been one of those people that's tried to get people to see beyond the shine, right? Because my biggest fear is somebody moving here and hating it and be like, Jeremy, you sold me a bill of goods that wasn't. So what do you not like about Austin?
Yeah, I think
Claudia,
for me,
you're next. Claudia, since you're new, you're next. So we're going to pick on you a little bit too. So just fair warning, people get picked on this channel. So just not Ian. Sorry. Go ahead.
Pressure's on.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it might be, only a couple of things come to mind, and I am relatively new to the area, and I still, if there is a honeymoon phase, maybe I'm still in it. So maybe I'm not as, the bad stuff isn't as obvious to me, but the one that seems to be a pretty, it depends where you are in the pendulum, right? If you're a homeowner and you're somebody who has property in Austin, the increased values of the homes seems to be a positive. But I think the fact that the market prices for homes has gone up so quickly lately, it's sort of, when I talk to my friends and other folks that are potentially looking into Austin, or people at Tesla that were thinking about moving to Austin, one of the things that they're starting to say is like, oh man, it's really starting to get expensive, right? So that's one thing that appears to be a negative. Doesn't impact me directly, but it does seem like a negative. But again, it depends where you are. If you're an owner already, you should be happy. But then the other side of that is, okay, but what house are you going to buy with that money now? Because that house is also going to go up in price, right? So it's kind of like a non sequitur kind of. But that's the big one that stands out for me. Outside of that, there are some. It seems like parts of Austin are struggling with the rapid growth a little bit, maybe from like a traffic standpoint. And it's not like the traffic's horrific or anything like that. I've lived in Pennsylvania, but we went to New York every other month basically, and we got to experience the traffic in that city, and it's horrendous compared to here. Yeah. So I can't even say Austin has traffic. It's like Austin has congestion from time to time.
Congestion,
I
yeah.
would say it, But it does.
I hate going to Houston. I always feel like I'm gonna get killed on their roads.
Yeah, but those are probably more superficial. I haven't been in the city long enough to maybe talk about more specific things, but those are the two things that stand out to me.
Okay, quick question then, Ian. I want to hear from everybody. North versus South, what's better?
I don't want to answer that question because
Ian's gonna be super wrong. Basic. He's gonna say South. North versus South, Claudia. Which one's better?
I would say South.
Yeah, 2 votes. All right.
She works for you. That's not fair.
Hey, she's an independent person. She's got a great. She's got a good head on her shoulders. She can say whatever she wants. I ain't stopping her. Farzad, North versus South.
I would say North because it's closer to me, and there are some things for me to enjoy doing. So, yeah.
Split panel. Farzad. Oh, you're getting a little shaky there. I think you're falling off the channel. Just kidding.
It's not split panel. It's like 2.5 versus yours.
Yeah. So you were talking about prices going up. I want to hear from everybody. Do you think that the Tesla effect? I mean, obviously Tesla announces in the middle of the pandemic that they're coming here. Obviously, they're bringing 10,000 employees. Right after that, we see just every different company decided to move here. Do you think Tesla legitimized Austin as a city? Do you think Tesla is the problem? The reason why we're having a boom town even faster than we anticipated? I want to hear from you. Start with Ian. Come on, Ian.
So the Tesla, I was responding to the comments, man. So the Tesla. Sorry. The thing about Tesla right now, people can't easily move north, right? Based on the prices of homes. So right now with Tesla, I feel like the growth around there is just going to be incredible based on the fact that, people don't want to have to drive. And in that case, that specific case, they have to drive to the place, right? That's a big deal for a lot of people, I think. And I think we're getting back to our original normal in a lot of cases, but also I haven't had a tour of the factory yet. That's not until April 7th. And so I don't actually know how the operations work, how many people will have to be on site, and then how that will grow the local economy.
Okay. Farzad, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I think the big thing that stands out to me about Tesla, I think it's a net positive because they're bringing 10,000 jobs, but to my understanding, they have 3,100 acres of land in that entire. So right now, if you look at how much land that factory's taking up, it's like 1/10 of the total land mass that they have. So you would think that the gigafactory there is just a start. And so if they have 10,000 folks there in that factory, then they'll, over the next 10 years, they might have 50,000 people working there over time, right? So who knows what the hell that's going to look like. I think that the type of technological things that they'll be building, so things like self-driving cars, you got the Boring Company, and you have God knows what else Elon's going to build. I think Austin's going to be a guinea pig. It's going to be sort of a beta place for a lot of these things to test. And knowing how Elon works and what Tesla's focused on, having been there, they're problem solvers first. So like, say long term, you have a situation where you have a lot of traffic problems getting people in and out of that area. I bet you Tesla's going to figure out how to solve it, through either building tunnels or figuring out how to leverage self-driving cars or whatever, right? So
we passed a tax bill that we're going to dig underground subterranean train. I think Elon could figure that out faster than whoever they were going to hire.
Exactly. So I think that's very, very exciting. I do think that them being here does absolutely drive the prices higher, because people generally like to be around things that are going to change their ability to pay for things, right? So get paid more. And Tesla is generally a very, very good employer to work at if you want to have a really good job that pays you well. So I think that's going to obviously bring a lot of demand. And as they continue to grow, not only are they going to be hiring more people, but the suppliers and everybody else that's part of that supply chain for Tesla is obviously going to start building bases around Texas as well for it to make more logistical sense. So I think it brings a lot of technical, like a lot of difficulties from a growth perspective, but knowing Tesla and its ability to innovate and solve problems, I think it's going to be a net positive, because eventually they'll solve those problems through innovation. So that's my take on it.
How many of you think that the reason why Samsung chose Austin and on that side of 130 is because of its relationship with Tesla?
What was that Cell-Link or whatever that other company was? Do you have
Neuralink?
I mean, yeah, everybody that's building on the east side, let's be honest, if you're going to do manufacturing, the east side is the way to go. Claudia, I want to hear from you. So you've been in Houston, you've been in Austin. Mm-hmm. Do you think that this growth that we're seeing was accelerated because of the announcement of Tesla?
Yes. So I was in the apartment business before, and I'm going to tell you, like last summer, like the prices for apartments was absolutely crazy. I mean, like there were like apartments for like $4,000, like regular normal apartments. So I think it's just, there's so many people moving here, And last year, all the apartments were almost 100% full. I haven't seen that in so many years, since I live here. Like apartments that there's nothing available.
Yeah, I think people underestimate how much rental rates have gone up. I could pull it up right now, but there's an article about Austin being number 2 on the list of rental rates to accelerate, which is really funny to me, because there was a channel, starts with a I can't figure it out, but he said that Austin was going to crash because the rental rates weren't keeping up with price appreciation. And I said to everyone, that's weird, because that's a lagging indicator. I don't know why you would use that as a reason for the market to crash. And what's happened? Oh, Jeremy's right. Prices have shot up like crazy. So sorry, I had to go on that tangent again, because people hit me up in the messages all the time about how I'm wrong about the market because he has more subscribers than me. Okay. It's more. Anyway, sorry. The one thing that we can't avoid, though, with all this growth is affordability. Now, Austin, the median right now is around 550. The MSA is just about to hit 500. Maybe it's more. Yeah, 550. So do you think that there's a way, with the amount of people moving here, that we can fix this affordability issue? And is there a way Tesla can help? That's a weird ass question, I know, but I want to get your sense. Can we fix this affordability issue, or are we done? Is just Austin forever no longer affordable?
Is that a question for me?
It's a general question. I like to say it and then see who just goes in first.
Yeah, I think so. And the only reason why is when you think about, this is going to sound completely nuts, but I'm going to say it anyway. when you think about what Tesla's long-term plan is to move the world's energy consumption and energy generation to sustainable, right? Whatever that means, solar, whatever. Okay. But the key thing there is that in tandem with that, you have SpaceX, which is another Elon company that's planning on colonizing Mars in the next, 10 to 20 years. They're going to plan to go to Mars. Okay, cool. So that sounds ambitious. So how does that tie to housing? And this is something that folks in the Tesla community talk about quite a bit, and the SpaceX community. So one of the things you need on Mars, okay, and hang it with me here, is housing. You need somewhere when people get there, they can't just like stand outside and be like, okay, I'm just going to die outside by myself. They need some sort of solution where they can go inside and be able to protect themselves from the very harsh atmosphere on Mars, right? So my gut tells me that eventually, I don't know if it's a Tesla thing or a SpaceX thing or whatever thing, I do expect Tesla or SpaceX or an Elon company to get into affordable housing. And the reason why is because they're going to try to solve for the housing problem on Mars, but they're going to try it first on Earth. And so that what they need to do is figure out how to build housing units as quickly as possible and as cheaply as possible, because it's as expensive as hell to ship materials to Mars. Okay. So I expect that to be part of their plan. Maybe it's not a 5 or 10 year thing, but it's 100% within the scope of what Elon and his companies are trying to achieve long term. So yeah, I think long term that's 100% part of their mission statement, and I would not be surprised if they announce that, say, in the next 5-10 years, with a goal of getting this thing going in the next 10 to 20 years. That's my take. It might sound crazy, but I know how the company operates, and I would not be surprised at all if that's where they're heading.
I have a pretty interesting theory on that exact thing. I saw an article today about how much more efficient Tesla is at manufacturing than so many of their competitors in a couple facets. One of them is the supercharger network. So they have a supercharger that was done in like a week. That's crazy to think about. They also, when they manufacture their cars, they now have the 2 largest gigapresses, or maybe 2 of the 3 largest gigapresses in the world, right? So they're basically stamping a car unibody like your MacBooks that everybody loves, right? So if you can do that for chargers and for houses, chargers and for cars, imagine if they can switch that to houses.
Exactly.
How crazy would that be?
Exactly. No, that's 100% right. And I mean, a lot of people might say it sounds crazy, but that's 100% correct. And then, look at how quickly the factory was brought up here in Austin. Look at the size of it. It was so fast. And I remember when we moved here, when my neighbor found out that I worked for Tesla, he's like, "Oh, I see you guys announced the thing. That thing ain't going to be done until 2025. Like,
yes.
You just wait. Yeah. He's like, no way. And now he's like, holy shit, you were right. My God.
That speaks to Aaron's last comment. He said, how about the estimates that in best case scenario with his own timelines, he misses the boat a lot, but he's also completed things faster than more people than most haters will agree.
Yeah.
He's completed a lot of things.
It's amazing what happened when you have free market ability to do things instead of red tape. Real quick, Claudia, I want to get to you to answer this question, but I know, so I have connections that have connections, and I've been working with Tesla for a little bit, but they had been talking with a company that builds steel boxable homes. So those like tiny homes, and they were initially going to be building them and taking them and putting them on that land out there and building community for people to stay in. I don't think that that's really come to fruition, but that steel company, it's a Canadian-based company. It's interesting that the tariffs on steel have been reduced. So now they can actually do more. They're actually building in San Marcos, that steel company's building. They can do, it's like 600 square feet in a day. They can build these units. And so they're building an entire apartment complex in San Marcos right now with that. And it's literally, they take them on a trailer, ship them on down. They're sitting on my buddy's land right now until they're ready, and then they put them up. So I think there's things that we can do. I mean, obviously in Austin, we have to change some of the permits and things that we're doing with building permits, so we can actually go a little more vertical, but that would help. But Claudia, I want to get from you, what do you think? Do you think that the affordability in Austin is just done, or do you think there's a chance that we can do things to help?
Well, You know, I mean, like I say, I come from Houston. Okay, I mean, Houston is a more affordable city. I just feel like here is a little bit more expensive. Now, I mean, I think there's still potential here. You know, you know, it's funny that you mentioned about those tiny homes. I have a friend that she's in the business, and I mean, I don't know. I just think that that's a great idea to do something different here in Austin.
I mean, there's a
The only thing that I'm scared is like people that there's a lot of people also moving to other cities because they cannot afford the prices here in Austin. And I have seen that the past year as well. Like I can't just afford here anymore, you know?
you just let the cat out of the bag for my video for next week. Thanks.
Oh,
That's literally my video for next week. So keep an eye on that. Where to go outside of Austin.
yeah.
Yeah. So any other thoughts on that? Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I mean, like I say, I just feel like you know, like Austin is an amazing city. I just feel like, you know, people are not going to be able to afford this city maybe next year.
Yeah, I mean, we're already running into like right now today. I looked at the amount of homes on the market, and inventory is still an issue. But right now, 1,742 homes. What did we say last week on the channel, Ian? This is like the same thing, 1,700.
It was like 1,500. It was a little less, I think. So we have a few. I mean, that
we'll have to check the tape because I think it was about the same, around 17. You could be right. I think maybe it was 16 something, but
even still, it's not it's negligible difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the thing about the people won't be able to afford it, that's an interesting argument because they said that people said that 2 years ago, and people are still affording it. It's just not the people that live here.
It just means
unless they already had a house or they have help. So there are people that will always be able to afford it. It's whether or not they have the incentive to want to invest here.
True. That's true. Yeah. It's a beautiful city, though. I mean, you know, I mean, like I said, I come from Houston, and I will never. I mean, I'm staying here in Austin. You know, I will never go back to Houston. You know, no. So I will do whatever it takes to stay here. I just feel like it's just getting a little bit more pricey. You know,
that's an important question. Why are you so attached to it? Because I'm also attached to it. Farzad is also attached to it. Jeremy, I don't know yet. I don't know if he's attached to it, but just the idea of being here right now.
Wait till next week's video.
Short while is very, I mean, it's appealing today. So people will find a way to afford it if they have the resources to do so.
Yes. I mean, it's a beautiful city, though. I mean, and you know, the hill country now is very popular here in Austin. You know, now people want to, you know, that's very popular now. I live in Lakeway, and I mean, now people are going more like the hill country, you know?
They're going like for that Spicewood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Farzad, people want to know, is that last rack, is that where your AR-15 goes now that you're in Texas? Or is that guitar?
How did you know? Ukulele. No, I don't know. I put it up there because I'm expecting to buy a guitar this year. I don't know what the third one's going to be. I was thinking an acoustic one, but I don't know. On my channel, I'm actually going to open up a poll and see what I'm going to put like an option of what people would like me to get next because I have a few guitars in mind. But it's just a third guitar. It's probably like a Stratocaster or something that's a little bit of a different style.
Well, you're going to have to steal Ian's shirt, and then you could put an AR-15 there and you'd be fine. I mean, perfect. I think you'd be fine.
I have my license to carry, which you don't need, I guess, but I do have it. So
no, you still need it. Yeah, you still need it.
But I'll definitely get the shirt though.
Yeah, okay. So cool. So one other question I had about Tesla, and we'll continue to take questions here, so definitely keep dropping questions in, is so we're seeing a lot of other companies, right? So all the suppliers, you know, I'm working with one of the suppliers right now looking for land for them. You know, land is becoming super expensive, especially in the east side. What other companies do you see moving here because of Tesla? Since I think we've all said that Tesla kind of legitimized Austin as this little big city. What other companies and what direction do you see Austin going in the future?
Yeah, I think raw materials is going to be huge. So knowing that Tesla is building their So the biggest thing that they're doing in the Gigafactory right now is going to be their primary line for their brand new generation, the next generation battery, which is called the 4680, the 4680 cell. And that cell is going to be very, you're going to be able to use different kind of chemistry to run that battery. But I think the primary ones is probably silicon. I don't know if nickel's part of it, but really any materials. Lithium, I think, is being phased out over time. And that's something that Elon has talked about, and mainly because it's such a conflict mineral, you have to do really crappy things to get it. I think really the only place you can get it right now affordably is the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is like a freaking hellhole over there, and it's probably like kids and literally slaves mining that stuff. So
that's Wakanda.
And it's pretty awful. So
what do you think about steel? Right, so the Cybertruck is like one of the few all steel vehicles that'll be produced right here in Texas. Yep. So as long as they keep that American, like from an American supplier, that supplier will absolutely be right here, right in 100%.
I totally 100%. Failed. The guy that gave me the Cybertruck bottle opener, I forgot to bring it upstairs. My bad.
Oh, I got my whistle right here, Cybertruck whistle.
Oh man, there's a guy. I'll post it on here.
I can't do it.
He made me a Cybertruck and it has the Texas flag. So it's the Texas flag because I jokingly said I'm going to wrap my Cybertruck in the Texas flag with my logo on it. He literally made me one. It's a Texas flag Cybertruck with my logo on it. I'm like, this is the coolest thing. I'll post it. I'll find it and I'll post it up here later. But, one thing I want to go back to real quick. So I wrote this down. I meant to talk about on affordability. And I want to get back to this question on where we go from here. But the property tax issue. So with Tesla coming, right, we've seen a lot of people come here, a lot of businesses come here. And one thing we haven't really figured out yet is the property taxes, because the rates are very high for a lot of these areas. And with Tesla coming here, regular homeowners find themselves who are on a 30-year fixed rate or whatever, find themselves in a position that combining of Tesla, combining of, the C word that we're not allowed to say, that thing in 2020. All of those things have caused prices to go up, which means homeowners are now facing a higher property tax. And then we keep passing more bills and more bills for more spending in Austin because we need it, which means that property values go up, property taxes go up like crazy fast rate. And now it becomes even more unaffordable for people, right? Because if you're looking at a home for $500,000 and the property tax is $5,000, you're like, okay, great. But if that property tax is $12,000, that's really going to impact your payment. Plus, interest rates are going crazy. So do you think that there's a way, number one, we can fix this tax issue? And secondly, how bad do you think it gets with taxes? I'll start with you because since you got a little more flavor on this.
Yeah, the tax thing is scary. In my opinion, because we're already so much higher than so many other places in the United States. And I almost think it's a bait and switch. Did I say that on this channel? I did. I think it's like everyone sees the prices of homes and then they get excited. They're like, oh, I could do that because it's half the cost of some other place that we know about. But then they get here and they're like, but the property taxes are twice as much. And so you're locked into that, which is again, it can be scary unless you don't go for a new construction home and you go for a resale. But then if you're going for a resale, you end up bidding and having to pay like 10 years worth of property taxes over and above your general or the list price in order to win the bid. So in both cases, it's difficult. It's challenging. And now there's all this discussion about possibly raising it along with inflation, along with so many other things in the world that create this uncertainty. All I'm saying is I think I like when property taxes are lower, if it can be controlled. How to control that, I don't know.
Well, it's like you buy a car, right? And you know the what your payment's going to be for 5 years, right? Payments all the same. Yeah. But at a certain point, gas prices go up. So now it actually costs you more unless it's an EV, but then you still got to pay. Hey, if energy costs are more, then you gotta roll.
Not if it's solar.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah. So it's interesting to see that, I mean, Farzad, obviously a little bit newer to Austin. Did you purchase when you come here, or are you renting right now? Purchase. Okay.
Yeah, we purchased, I have a primary home and a rental as well.
That's right.
So,
okay.
That's a really good question. Well, sorry, I'll let you go, Jeremy.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Ian. Just take over the show. This is the Ian show. Go ahead, Ian.
Ian's got a cooler shirt, so you should let him know.
I'm like, my mic's off. I'm just not going to say anything.
No, you go ahead and ask the question, Ian. Go for it. I'm going to turn my mic off.
I want to ask our guest the question. I want to understand why you went into that position, why you said, I'm moving here. Let me hurry up and buy something and a rental. Like, where was your mind when you made that decision?
That's a great question. So it was all in anticipation of real estate prices booming because of the Tesla effect. 100%. That was, and my thought process was, if I can spend X amount of dollars to get the property that I'm comfortable with, regardless of how many units there are, if I have X number of dollars invested into this area, with Tesla moving here and with everybody else that will come here because of that move, plus other companies that have already moved, there's no other way but up. Right. So, that was by far the biggest reason. But then it also piggybacks slightly on the property tax question as well, because I think for the folks that live here, and I say this from somebody that is coming from a different state, right, from Pennsylvania, who also has exposure to New Jersey, New York, sort of understands the real estate market in California and other places as well. I don't think the property tax question is really that big of a deal. Because the way I think most folks look at the property tax, especially if they're out of state. So, of course, people that are in the state are obviously going to have, or people in the city are going to have an issue with it. But think about the rest of the population of the United States. The property tax question, in addition to the income tax question, of which Texas has 0, right? Which is, I think it goes hand in hand with the property state tax, is what is the value I'm getting by moving here, right? I think that's the question that people get. And the property tax and an income tax, if there was one, is hand in hand with that. And I think what's happening, and I think the reason why that property tax issue for folks moving here and how property prices will probably go up over time, is that people find a lot more value here by paying that property tax versus, say, New Jersey, where you have a higher property tax and you have state income tax and you have a higher sales tax, and it sucks. Right. So it's like, that's really the big question around the property tax thing from my lens. I completely understand that people that live here seeing their property taxes go up it sucks. But I think the flip side of that, the question you have to ask yourself is, what value is the city or the state giving back to me that would warrant them to raise that? Right. And if it's job growth and bringing a ton of really advanced companies to this area, then you could make an argument that there is a reason for them to raise it, but there has to be a direct correlation between value brought and the tax rate. And if somebody feels that that's not the case, and then they'll make the decision to say, well, I don't want to buy property here because I feel I'm not getting the money's worth. Texas's big advantage is that there's no income tax and their economy is extremely good. And I think that's where people choose to forego, the property tax question, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it all boils down to how much do you have to pay out of pocket to live in the place that you want to be. Exactly. And it doesn't have to be property tax versus sales price. It has to do with, like you said, Farzad, the economy as a whole.
Right.
Does this allow me to improve my current standing and financial situation, or improve the quality of life for my family? If you can answer both of those questions, people will continue to move here.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
So my question then becomes really for the people that who have lived here for a while. Ian, your mic. The people that have lived here for a while that had nothing to do with Tesla moving here. They've been in Austin for years, got a fixed rate, right? Their taxes, they see their taxes go up, but now all of a sudden their taxes are really going up. What do you say to those people saying, hey, but by the way, you have Tesla here. It's awesome. Because I think that's, I hear from a lot of people animosity about Tesla and a lot of these companies moving here, primarily because their taxes go up and they go up significantly, yet they had nothing to do with it. They're just trying to live their best life. So I think there's two sides of that coin, right? I definitely agree with you that, if you're going to be moving to Austin, you're moving here because of the potential that you see. But if you're somebody who's been here for a while, you're also going, well, wait a second, I didn't do anything new. I've just lived here. And now my property taxes are out of control.
The thing is, so are their home equity values, right? Like, so they're still gaining the benefit.
But they're not going to sell, right?
Right, they're not, but they could also use that to completely renovate their home, maybe to purchase an investment, maybe to purchase a second home. Even if they don't sell, maybe turn it into a rental, purchase a new primary. There are lots of variables in there because of this increase in equity as a result of them being here and being established and having such a prevalent economic growth.
If I can add my 2 cents there too, I think the other thing that goes hand in hand too is it goes back to value brought by the city or state. And so in theory, as that property tax goes up, theoretically, you should be able to get a higher wage from your employer as well. And if you aren't, that means that you probably should talk to them or find a new job that can allow you to have that, because it's a direct correlation to the value that's in that state or city. And I totally get, like, I can very much sympathize it, because if I'm somewhere that I love and I have a house that I love, but my bills are going up because of other people coming here and they're disrupting my way of life, I totally get that. Sucks. Of course, man. Like, of course that's going to suck. But it sucks if you are either not willing or don't want to take advantage of the other value that the area is bringing, which is why those rates go up, right? And if you don't want to take advantage of that, I completely understand that. That's just the unfortunate reality of a city or a state deciding to really grow its economic capability. That's what happens, you know? And it's kind of a crappy answer, but that's just the truth. That's how economics works, unfortunately.
I love the comment from Juanita about a bunch of people turning 65. Now, the demographics of the city, I don't know currently today with so much traffic what the demographics are, but let's say it's the boomer demographic that is now moving out.
Call me?
Huh?
What'd you just call me?
I didn't call you anything. Yeah, and millennial. And then the millennial and zennial and younger demographic buying all these houses, they're not familiar, not necessarily as familiar or worried about the property taxes to begin with. And there's a high probability that they're making multiples more in salary. So really it ends up just being a wash in a lot of cases. Now it washes. I'm just going to stop there.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be a balance. And I know that there's, I know our city council and mayor have talked about this as something they continue to talk about, but I feel like in any city you go to, not just Austin, there's a lot of lip service and not enough actual service. So I'm curious to see what Austin actually does in the future, because, we can go to city council meetings and give our opinion until we're blue in the face, yet it's up to them and the voters to make a change. But from what I've seen in this city is that voters, anytime there's a vote to vote, and here's what's interesting about this, and this is where I get a little like, is that when every time there's a vote to spend more money, obviously it passes. But the thing you have to think of too, homeowners are the ones paying that property tax that gets increased. Not roundabout, renters do, but they don't directly pay it. So when they say, oh, it's going to raise taxes, they're like, it goes on homeowners. I don't care. That just makes it harder for them to purchase. And then their rental rates go up because they have property taxes go up. So they have to increase rental rates. So it's just interesting to me that how we work things, there's better ways to do it. There's always going to be complaints. Nobody's ever going to be happy. But I think if you look at Austin as a whole, there's a lot to be happy about, and there's obviously things that can change. So that's guessing what I'm saying. Yeah,
and then if I could add one more thing, is that it's also a question around timeline, right? So I think Ian mentioned this too, is like the equity of your house is going up as that tax rate's going up. The equity of your home's also going up, right? But it's all about the timeline. If you're waiting 20, 30 years, right? In theory, you're going to get that. What do you say? If Farzad didn't have to pay so much in taxes, he would have his third guitar by now. Yeah, maybe I could have, but I can tell you that the equity I gained from my home would have allowed me to buy 20 guitars, right? So it all depends.
But that's one thing. Yeah, the equity you gain in your home, but then you have to sell it. But then where do you go? And that's partly why we have such an inventory issue.
You don't have to sell it. That's where the whole recasting and refinancing and all that stuff comes from.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's right, but you don't have to sell it.
So my question is, what percentage
costs you money though?
What percentage of people keep their homes forever? Do we have a stat around that?
Let me Google that. And I think it depends on where you are.
Yeah.
Also, I think it's very territorial.
Right. So like, if more than 50% of the people keep their homes forever, then raising property rates doesn't benefit the majority. But if more than 50% of the people sell their homes, then the equity they'll gain or the additional home value for the house once they sell it will more than offset the tax increases over the lifespan of the house. So it's all a question of time. How long are you willing to wait to gain back the amount you lost from taxes through the equity of the home, right? And some people will never get it and some will. So I don't know. I definitely sympathize with those that are being affected by it. It's kind of a crappy situation, but yeah.
It's a pretty interesting question.
Adam, that's a fantastic question. We're going to get to that one. Rental rates from my single family home is $1,500. I have increased to $1,800 because property taxes. Sorry, equity is not an issue. Not selling, getting it. So it's exactly what you said. Thank you, Maria. What's the Tesla effect? And I think a lot of this. So with property values going up, what percentage in taxes going up? What percentage of this is Tesla's? I mean, if property values go up, if it's Tesla's fault, it's a good thing. But if property taxes go up, that's Tesla's fault and it's a bad thing. What percent of this growth that we're seeing in prices do you think absolutely has to do with Tesla?
I think Farzad is going to have a better answer than this, but just looking at the timing is kind of suspect with the pandemonium and the announcement of the Gigafactory. And then halfway through that, so that was early 2019. And then halfway through that in early 2020, they were like, and also we're moving headquarters. Like you can't really break it up, which is unfortunate.
Here's the exact point. I worked with, and I know Ian's worked with a lot of people that have bought a home or buying because it's an investment property because Tesla's here, right? B, Tesla employees are moving here. So that's part of the, not I was going to say part of the issue, but part of why homes are going up. And then with the exact combination of both of those is sitting on this channel, Farzad moved here for Tesla and then bought investment properties for Tesla. So I would give it 75%. I would say we would have only seen maybe, so the height, we were like 40% growth. I think we probably would have seen 25% growth. So maybe it's only 40% if you go by those numbers.
What percent of the increase? So did they give a breakdown of what that money was going to be used for? Like, was it infrastructure work? What was it for? Like, do they give
the 7.8 billion?
Yeah.
So it was all,
of the additional, like the additional revenue they would get.
Yeah. So that 7.8 that they had signed, it wasn't even for the full project. It was, I think it only covered probably like 60% of it. The other 40% was supposed to come from the government.
Sorry. So like, my question is around the increase of the property taxes. Like, what was the justification for the increase that they gave? And do they have a breakdown
property values? So the
specifically?
way, yeah,
okay.
Just every year your home's reassessed off the property value.
Okay. I mean, and so the question becomes, what percentage of that increase is due to the Tesla effect?
Yes.
I mean, 40%, 50%. If I were to guess,
I could live with that. Ian, what do you think?
Again, I think it's hard. I kind of like that number, maybe 30, closer to 30%, because the thing is, people have already been moving to Tesla from to Austin from all of the other companies that are coming here. I think Tesla just ends up being helping to inflate those numbers. Right. But also, if the pandemonium never happened, let's think about it this way. If that never happened, then how many people would be relocating before the announcement of Tesla? Still a lot of people. I just don't think it would have been as rapid. Right. I don't think
we would have had as many investors. So if you think 20% for a while, they estimated 20% of all purchases were investors. So only 80% were home buyers. So that's 20%. I would say probably all of those investors, almost every single one bought because of Tesla. But people moving here, how many more people moved here because of that? And at the end of the year, I think it was like 35% of sales they estimate were investors like December, January. But they're trying to
A lot of people are just aging into needing to purchase because they see that it's becoming unaffordable. It's not even as a result of Tesla, right?
But
there are a lot of people
do you think Tesla legitimized Austin, or is it all Joe Rogan?
It's mostly it's the Spotify thing. I think so many people were coming from other places that are much more unaffordable as first-time buyers that don't even care about Tesla. And they're like, where are the hot spots? You can go to Colorado, but you have to deal with things there. You can go to, they're not going to go to New York and California. You can go to Nashville. It depends on if you
remember we had the girl from Nashville on here and it was a total bomb. Oh, sorry.
But it's just a way for them to get something that is affordable, but still a fun city. And they're not even thinking about the investment necessarily. It's more of a, where do I go? Where are the jobs? Where's the fun? Where's the nightlife? That's like this 20-something show from Netflix in Austin. They don't care about investing yet, right? But they want to be where the people are that they think are going to bring them more opportunities and more fun. And so that's the focus. So the people are moving here anyway. Tesla's just a byproduct of the hype.
100%. And the reason, and I have anecdotal evidence that says this, the reason why Tesla came here is because people from Tesla wanted to move to Austin, not because Tesla was in Austin.
And like the university and just so many other pulls, incentives to be here. Yeah.
Yeah. California.
So it's all South by Southwest's fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Next week, isn't it?
It's not, I'm so excited. I'm telling you, I love South by Southwest. It is my favorite event. Farzad, I'm so excited you're going to be here for the first one in like 2 years. That is, I will never forget Blue October, playing at the Key Bar, this tiny bar. It's raining. The dude reaches outside. He's literally hanging off the side of the stage into the rain, over the crowd outside, singing the song, Let the Rain Come Down.
That's badass.
You cannot, like that, the vision of him out there, let the rain come down, as he's getting, I'll never forget that. And it's moments like that why I absolutely think South by blows out ACL Fest. It blows out F1. It blows out everything. It is the coolest event I've ever been to. And I go every year and I'm never disappointed. So shout out, South by is the sponsor of this video tonight. So South by, go promo code Jeremy and you'll get nothing off, but you'll have a good time.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited. I'm excited to check it out. I've heard so many great things about it.
I love it. It's my favorite event. So this is a great question, Adam. I love this question. Would you rather have $250K in Tesla stock or $250K towards an investment property in Austin?
What's my time scale?
That's a great question. I would say today, let's just take the question for what it is. Today, you have 250 grand. You're going to put it in Tesla stock at, what is the valuation today? 950 or something?
69, I think.
Or, well, I don't think you can buy a home in Austin for 250,000, but let's say you're buying a quarter of a home.
Tesla easily.
Really?
Easily. Yeah. Only because I follow, not investment advice. This is just me speaking out loud. Please don't make a decision based on what I'm about to say. Please.
Especially if you have $250,000, especially Adam.
Do your own research. I think there's two factors going on. I think the near term sort of depression of the stock market has hit certain companies unfairly, and I think Tesla's one of them. If you look at Tesla's chart, they were almost up to $1,300 not too long ago. I think like 4 or 5 months ago, and they're just getting started from a ramp perspective and generating a lot of cash and profitability. And so I just think if Tesla was at 1,500, my answer might be different. But given the Tesla price today, don't follow my advice. Do your own research. I would throw every penny I have into Tesla, in my opinion.
Interesting. I'm going to do some math here. I remember purchasing a home, a rental property in Austin for $293. And that property is now worth, and that was 2019 we closed. That property, if I were to put it on the market right now, I would price it at 200. I would price it at 550 is where I would list it. So I'm trying to think what the Tesla stock was then. If I put 250,000 in Tesla stock then,
how long ago was it?
It was 29. We closed October 2019.
Exactly what it was.
So what would have been a better investment? $297,000 in Tesla stock or $297,000 in a property, which after fees, it's going to net me $200,000 if I were to sell right now, which I won't.
October 2019.
Yep.
October 28th, 2019, Tesla stock was $62.
Well, I screwed up big time. Jeez.
Yeah, it's over 10x.
I would have been an $18 million. So, yeah, you're right. With that,
but we're at a different time.
Yeah.
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 So that was historical. I'm going to answer the question anyway, Adam. I think that was historical information. But Farzad, what you pointed at is look at today. Would you still invest it today? So yes. I look at it like the thing that a lot of people aren't aware of is all of the future planning. The worry is how the CEO's behavior impacts the company. So there are things like they're working on an HVAC system. What? That's like a complete industry disruptor that people just don't get, right? They're building trying to work with entire neighborhoods to build solar roofs on houses. Like there's all these things that Tesla is working on monetizing that as each one hits, all it does is it exponentially scale the value that people see in the product, assuming that they can hit these things.
That's right.
And like you said, Farzad, if you look historically, while there have been a lot of date misses, there's still been so many hits, so many patents that are being licensed out. Even their superchargers being licensed out to all these other car manufacturers that can't figure out how to do it themselves. It's incredible.
Yeah. They might be late, like 1 or 2 years late, but they would have been 10 years ahead of anybody else. That's really the key thing here. Somebody asked me if I drive a gas car. No, I have a Tesla Model Y. I've been driving electric for like 6 years. I think Dinosaur asked that question. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, Dinosaur's a liar. I'm just kidding, Dinosaur. I love you. You know who's not on here tonight is Master Jedi. He's mad at me because I won't let him on the channel. He keeps asking. Sorry, dude. I mean, I don't know. If you got something good to say, you can come on. So this is, is it Ibrahim? Ibrahim. Great point. You are 100% right. I financed. So 25%, 219. So what is that? Is $70,000 down. So $70,000 at what is it? 900 and well, you got to yeah. Still, I would have been like 6 million. So 4 million. Still, it's a lot of money. Somewhere around there. I can't do math in my head that fast. But still, even if it dropped 20% and used that on Tesla, it's still crazy good. Yeah, I'm good. Dinosaur D, do you have a Tesla? I'm a dinosaur. I still drive gas.
See, so I ordered an electric motorcycle. I have a gas motorcycle. I have the Tesla. I have a gas car. Just sold my convertible. Like, I just love the thought of it. And then as soon as I got the Tesla, very few things are as fun. It just completely changed my entire perspective on it. And it's one of those things that I'd wanted for a while, but now you have it and it's like, man, this is a really, really cool vehicle with so much potential. And it's one of those things that until you're experiencing it yourself, you don't necessarily know. Now, it is not perfect. It is not Mercedes quality interior. Like, none of that matters, really. You just want to get from point A to point B without spending way too much money and having a blast while doing it most of the time. If you spend a lot of time in your car, and I drive a lot.
Yeah, it really shocks people. Again, like those that have never been in one or have never driven one, when the first time they try it or drive it, they're always blown away. They're like, I had no idea this was like this. And the product sells itself. There's a reason why Tesla spends $0 on marketing, right?
I do. I do. Look. I'm holding them right now. Look. I got them.
Oh, it's funny. Old fashioned. How do you give people money? I want to give people money. I want to give him money right there. That was great.
Post his Venmo.
Claudia asks, what is the average salary for someone to buy a house in Austin? That's a great question. She asked in the private comment there. Big Mama. So that's a Sarah question. So I text Sarah Morris, who's not here tonight, about this question about Ukraine. So I've heard people saying that interest rates have gone down. I just had to lock in for my investment property because on investors, it was supposed to go up today is what I was being told. But I've also heard that rates for primary home went down. What do you think? And this is another good Sarah. Sorry, Claudia, it's a Sarah question. But I'll have to ask her. I don't know. It depends on the median of the house, the price of the house, because they go to what, 46 or 47% DTI. So if you make 90 grand a year, you pre-approve for whatever that is. So sorry. Tangents. Big Mama, welcome back. So I had to catch up with y'all. Our home assessed for 100K at 100. Over 100K than we bought 7 months ago. Hope our kids will get into something before it's out of reach. Yep.
You know, you could use that to help your kids get into something that's not out of reach. Right? Like that's an option. I'm not saying that's the right answer. Most parents will be like, they're going to work for it themselves. I'm just saying, like, you can do that. If I turn my mic down, does it sound better? Apparently, it wasn't sounding great. Okay.
So what do you mean by that, though, Ian?
Well, she can do. She could refinance, roll in the cost of refinance. I'm not saying this is the right answer. Roll in the cost of the refinance, pull out equity or home equity line, not a home equity line of credit, but take some of that extra equity and use that to help them for either a down payment or some of their cash. To closing to help them close. Like there are ways that she could use that equity to help her kids get into a primary residence.
Got it. Okay. Average salary for a tech job in Austin. 120,000. David Tandy did a thing on this the other day. I want to say you're pretty close to being right. It depends on what the tech job is, but Farzad, what do you think for tech job? Is the average about 120K?
Probably higher.
It depends on what you do too, right? Project managers make more.
Yeah. Aaron actually gave me some numbers that were astonishing with some of the new companies that are coming in. For example, I think he said Amazon has job postings right now for like 320,000 just to be able to retain talent. And I don't know if that's 10% or if it's 50% of tech work, but I mean, it's definitely not the warehouse workers. We know that much.
Yeah, that's a top level software developer or somebody who's going to be running an entire team of like a program manager, like a high level program manager or something like that. Yeah,
but how many houses are they going to buy?
Amazon?
No, the program managers that come in and they have this surplus of income.
Versus, if they're smart, they'll buy more. They'll buy more than
versus one. Their team of 10 people that can't afford a house. Yep. Are there still 10 houses being purchased? I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying, is that happening? These are the questions that people aren't asking themselves.
Well, my neighbor does or used to be work from home, and he took an even higher paying job and moved to Dallas to buy a $1.6 million home that he could have just lived in and stayed here for less. So I don't know if that is just anecdotal, but wow. Answering the Ukraine question. So Sarah says, we did see rates go down this week with Ukraine, but then today they started to go back up after Powell said he supports a smaller Fed rate hike instead of a 50 BPS, so bips, meaning they are not strongly trying to combat inflation. We lost all gains for the last 2 days. So there you go.
So Powell's saying that so half a point is completely off the table then?
It's what he's saying, yeah.
All right.
So interesting. All right. So what else is the Tesla effect happening? Like what other businesses do we think are going to be moving to to Austin?
You know, one of the things that I haven't checked into, and Farzad, maybe you can help me with this, help us all with this. Wherever else Tesla has released a gigafactory, how has that impacted the local economy there? So like Germany, for example, obviously California, we've seen what's happened there. And I don't know if I want to say China. I don't know because they're going to do a second gigafactory in China.
That's correct.
Nevada, but that's for batteries, but it's still employ tons of employees. It's in the middle of the desert. Nobody wants to actually be there, do they?
They do. Yeah, I mean,
property taxes though, right? It's because of employment and property taxes, not necessarily because, and then forever heat. It's nice.
Yeah. I don't have too much data around what it does to the local economy, but I can tell you that anytime, so the 3 times, so Tesla started with their factory in Fremont, which was the old Numni plant, which was a Toyota GM joint venture. When GM went bankrupt in 2008, they sold it to Tesla for like 30 million or something. But ever since they announced Shanghai, Nevada, Austin, and Berlin, the anecdotal things that I hear is that everyone around those areas is extremely excited, and that when they go to those places, the community is very vibrant. It's like really alive. There's a lot of businesses. There's a lot of people going out and buying things. And anecdotally, what I hear is that, yeah, it gets more expensive from a housing perspective. So, I mean, if you think about a company, if a company shows up in your backyard and they throw up a thing in a year and a half, and all of a sudden you create 10,000 jobs, not overnight, but really, really quickly, it's obviously going to have a positive effect to the economy. So, but that's only anecdotal. Yeah.
Love this. That's good.
Yeah. Client under contract for 3D 419. Property just appraised for 600. That's $200,000 in your pocket. I don't want to give any. I have some clients who just closed on a home 8 months ago, reselling their home. They made a lot of money in a new build community. That, remember, check the tape a long time ago. I said, don't buy a new build community if you want to sell it in 2 years. Man, the C word took everything out of that, because good for them. I'm happy for them. But they're kind of taking advantage of what happened with builders. Builders are raising costs. So here's a thing. So there, Perry Homes, I looked at this home the other day. It was $900,000 was the purchase price in High Point, is what they had it on the MLS, but a purchase for, I couldn't really tell. So like $917,000. Perry Homes is very proud of their product. So the prices reflected they're very proud of their product. So 917 was still high for stuff that I was closing that same time frame for like 750, but 917. So it's about to close. The buyer backed out, was about to close like 2 months. The buyer backed out for whatever reason. So they put it up back on the market. It was listed at 917 originally. What do you think that the builder Perry Homes put this inventory home on the MLS for? It was 917. What do you think they put it for now?
1.1.
Farzad, what do you think?
1.25.
Nailed it. 1.2249.
I should be a realtor.
You should.
That's just what they.
I'm kidding.
And I have to tell you, whatever the owner or the person who did the upgrades, right? Because it was going to be one that they built. The upgrades they picked were not great. For $1.2 million, my wife and I are saying like 1.2, like maybe 950, not 1.2. But that's just where prices have gone since Tesla took over and made Austin Tesla. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But anyway, where else were we going from there? Sorry, I went on a side tangent. All this pricing. Somebody asked about where was that back here? Where was it? It was about, this isn't really a Farzad question, but it was about why aren't agents, when they do set a time deadline, why did they not try to get more offers? I think. Did you see that one, Ian? When you have multiple offers, right, and you set a deadline, what's usually the process for you, Ian? Because it's probably the same close as mine.
Responding to Dinosaur D. What was the question again, please?
7. So When you have a listing, right, and you have multiple offers on it and you
Yeah.
set a deadline, what's usually your process? Do you just set a deadline and get everybody to bid, or what's generally your process? Everybody's different.
Right. I think it depends on the listing. In
There we
this
go.
case, I think I told you guys I use that the NFT software, which summarizes everything for the seller. So it ended up being, I took the listing or took the offers until Sunday night, and then I gave everybody until Monday morning to give me a best and final, everybody who was still interested. And then there are a lot of other things that I do on the back end that kind of, they're secret, they're industry.
So the question is, here's a question for y'all. What is the deal with offer deadlines? You just answered this. Why don't agents go back to many buyers and ask for more money to start a bidding war? I don't get the arbitrary deadline. So typically what will happen is like what Ian said. So if we have all these showings, we know we're going to get multiple offers. We'll say, here's the deadline. Give us your highest and best offer. Now, once all those offers go in, you can go back and ask all the other offers if they're going to come up. But just keep in mind, you're going to be saying, hey, we have higher offers higher than you. And typically what you're doing before that even happens, say, hey, look, there are higher offers, just so you're aware, you may have to come up if you want to be competitive. So it just depends on your agent. But I mean, there's nothing stopping you from going, okay, we have $100,000 over list price. Let's go back and ask everybody else if anybody wants to go to 105 or 110 over. There's nothing against, like, you can do that. Just keep in mind, some buyers may go, no, forget it. I mean, they may or they may not. I mean, what are your thoughts, Ian?
Yeah, I did that with this last week listing, and a bunch of people came with much higher offers. It's like, reach for the sky, and then you can reach. And then you're like, okay, now pretend that your life is in danger. Reach a little more, and then you still do. Like, it's the same thing. You can make it work if you know.
Yeah, I remember for our investment property, that was exactly what happened with the seller. That's, they said, just, I think the house was listed on Wednesday, and they're like, everybody get your offers in by Sunday, your best and final offer. And then we placed it and we were top 3. And they're like, okay, how much more can you go? I'm like, if you want to really win, can you get to this price? And,
well, and then
didn't. Yeah.
The other thing is, people don't realize that we all know, good realtors know that that's the strategy. And then you'll get it under option period, and then you'll try to like nickel and dime after that. And it's like, okay, you just want to bring it down. Like none of that really works, right? So you can't go into an inspection after they've accepted the contract and then start asking for 5, 10, 15,000 off to get back to the original price you offered. They'll just go back to the initial offer or put it back on the market today. If you go back 2 or 3 years, you would have done exactly that, and it would have been a great opportunity for you.
I had a really interesting one recently on one of my listings that we've got under contract, multiple offers over list price. And then the buyer came back and was like, well, we want all this money off the price from the inspection. And we're like, there's nothing on this inspection worth even giving you. They wanted 8,000 off the price. And we're like, no, not going to happen. We'll go back to somebody else. And we end up negotiating for a very nominal price. It was not $8,000. And then, so in the contract, we'd written an appraisal waiver, which means that the buyer would make up any difference should the appraisal not make value. Well, the agent came back to me and was like, well, hey, it didn't make appraisal. It appraised $22,000 less. Can you guys drop the price 10 grand? I'm like, no. Well, you need to talk to your seller and ask your seller, because we may back out. I'm like, I don't have to do anything. I don't even know, like, don't even talk to me that way. I'll talk to my seller, but the answer is still no, because you signed an appraisal waiver. You need to do a better job of explaining to your client the process they put them. Well, the stock market's down, so he can't afford the appraisal gap. I'm like, well, that's funny, because the stock market just bounced back the same day. So what are you talking about? Like, it's on you. If you want to back out, let me know. My client's going to take the 10,000 earnest money and we'll put it back on the market. It's totally fine. Didn't hear back from him for like 3 days. And then all of a sudden, hey, can we close early?
It's weird.
It worked.
Yeah. So they were just trying to get off the price. So I've seen that where people put in a really high offer and then try to get the price back down after the contract. But you have to understand, if you're a buyer and you sign an appraisal waiver and you sign all this stuff and you do everything you can to make your offer look as best as cash, it's a good possibility you're going to lose earnest money if you try to pull stuff like that. So just be aware that you can't just go high over list price, shoot for the moon, and then try to come back and ask for lower price. Now, look, if there's a bad foundation, if there's stuff, if there's issues, then sure. But yeah, anyway.
I have a client I was representing, and I'm not sure if he watches this, so not sorry if you hear this. And he's a good guy. But his strategy was, let's submit this offer. And it was already low. It was surprising that we ended up getting this offer. But then here's where it gets interesting. He asked about the age of the roof. What's an average lifespan of a roof, Jeremy?
Geez, 22 years, right? Probably less than that.
20 years, right? Like something like that, right? Well, the roof was 4 years old, and he's like, okay, well, you got to take 25% off the value of that and come back to them and say, hey, you got to give me the depreciation on the roof. I'm like, that's not going to fly.
Yeah, that's a
good one, though.
If I'm the seller, I'm just like, man, no, you guys can.
That dude's definitely in finance. He's talking about depreciation.
Did your client accept a Bitcoin offer?
No, she did not. She didn't like. She was like, I don't know enough about crypto to go there. So no.
Speaking of,
we got 20 offers anyway, so it was good.
Speaking of Scooter Braun, if you know who he is, the manager for like a bunch of people, music manager. He bought a house like right before the pandemic. No, in the pandemic for 15 million. I know this because people told me. He just sold it for 18.5 million or something like that off market with Bitcoin, with a coin to cash transfer. It was just announced today. So, but he originally bought it for like 15 million, like 2 years ago, not even 2 years ago. Can you imagine making $3 million like that? I mean, obviously he's going to pay 37%. I mean, he's got lawyers and people, but 37% in capital gains, but dang.
Yeah, but it's not really much different than people buying a house for 200,000 and selling it for 4.
No, not at all. But
it's the same thing. In fact, they got a better deal.
Yeah,
because they don't have to pay the capital gains.
Oh, that's a good question about commercial. Do you think commercial is going to get really expensive in Austin because of people like Tesla and all these other companies coming in and buying up commercial spots?
Let's let our guest answer that, but I have a thought.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think that if there's more people in the area and there's more economic demand when it comes to people spending more money, wouldn't all property prices go up? Right? I mean, that's kind of how I think about it. I don't think of commercial or residential. Like in my mind, they're both together. Like one feeds the other. And if one's missing, then the other one goes down with it. I don't know if that's a stupid answer, but that's how I think about it. Yeah.
I think it's gonna. I think the commercial market's going insane. So if you're going to look at commercial right now, one thing that's pretty interesting is you'll see stuff listed, but there's no price. You have to sign an NDA. Basically, the owner's trying to find out if you have any connections to Tesla or one of these big corporations, and then they're just going to give you an arbitrary, crazy price. Like that's pretty insane. So you have to sign an NDA just to get the price of a property.
I like this question because I was having a discussion about zoning earlier today.
Zoning, that's what's on there.
And that's going to matter based on where this commercial property is. Because if you end up buying a house, I'm just going to use Rainy Street arbitrarily, right? Not that you could afford that, but if you buy a house around there and then you want to convert that into some kind of commercial opportunity, the cost there is going to be a factor. You're not going to have your mom and pop shop doing that a whole lot, but you can have your mom and pop shop getting into a new strip mall in Cedar Park for a reasonable rent, right? So I think it depends on where that is, but yeah, I do think they feed each other.
So the question about Farzad here, let me clear this out. Here's his channel. It is just his name right here. Boom. He's got 17,000 subscribers in like 2 months. It's 3 months. Super impressive, man.
Shout out to Adam. Growth. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah.
Giving me shout outs in the comments, dude. Thank you, Adam. Much love.
Yeah. Awesome. For not that many videos. I mean, you're putting out.
I have like 100 or something, maybe.
Yeah.
100 recently.
That's how much. So people don't understand how much work goes into this stuff. How much work goes into putting out, let's see.
Oh, man.
You just stream 3 hours 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 5 days ago, 6 days ago, 7 days ago. So in 7 days, you put out 7 videos. How much work goes into that?
Yeah, a lot. the thing about it for me, so I'm used to, this is how sort of the kind of person I am. I'm very obsessive when it comes to things I enjoy to do. And I think that's the part of the reason why I had such a successful time at Tesla. It's just, I get absolutely obsessed. So for me, it's not so much how much time I spend in it, is how much enjoyment I'm getting out of it. I would say those 7 videos collectively, probably, I mean, the live streams are obviously going to be the time that it was spent, but like the amount of time I spend researching and thinking and wanting to post my videos, each video on average probably gets about 3 to 4 hours each. And then I try to put up 5 videos a week. And then whenever I have
much work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's not necessarily maybe as much as like a full-time job, maybe it's not 40 hours or 50 hours in a week. But what's very interesting about it is the time that I spend outside of the video researching sort of how to get better. My thing that I'm trying to do is I'm constantly trying to get better. So a lot of that time that I spend doing really, it's a lot of time as well, but I really enjoy doing it. It's a hobby. It's something that I really enjoy doing ultimately. And that's what's important, I think.
Yeah. So old-fashioned, we're not past the 9 o'clock hour where we do the after-hours show, but Farzad's OnlyFans account's actually blowing up too. We were talking about that before
I only do my videos only with my super bad shirt on, and that's it. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I love it. Well, cool. Any other final words from either of you before we jump out of here?
Thank you guys for having me. I mean, this was super fun. I really appreciate you guys having me on for the first time, and I had a blast. And yeah, I love talking about Tesla. I love talking about Austin. You're both obviously extremely good at what you guys do, and you have a great community. So thank you both for having me. Thank you to the community that supports you and asking all these great questions. And yeah, I love Austin. I can't wait to see continue growing. Those that have been here for a long time, you guys have a beautiful city. It's so freaking warm and welcoming. I love it here so much. So thank you guys for making this area what it is today. And I promise for everyone who's new to the area, I'm trying my hardest to ensure that they don't ruin or hurt the charm of the area. So I bet you have an ally in me to make sure that the charm that made Austin what it is, the great city that it is, that I'll make sure to carry that on your behalf for everybody that's new here. So thank you guys very much. Really appreciate you.
Absolutely. And watch his channel to see what firearm he decides to put up on the back wall there. I'm definitely interested.
It's going to be an AR, you know it.
Yeah, but what caliber? That's the question. Because if you're hog hunting 300 blackout, I'm telling you, it's the way to go. Ian, what do you got, man?
Dude, I appreciate you coming on. I think you provided a lot of insight for people that may or may not know about the actual Tesla effect, the things that are happening. And so that's invaluable. And I appreciate everybody for always leaving comments and being so engaging. That's huge for us to be able to have something to really dig into. I love it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ian.
Well, thanks everybody. We'll catch you on the next one. Make sure you subscribe, share with a friend, go over Farzad's page and subscribe, and write a lot of fun comments on his channel. Please do. I mean, I always recommend just harass him as much as you can on his channel, because every comment helps the algorithm.